Okay, so up next we have Gaurav. Gaurav is the founder of Verloop. So now we are going to talk about, so we spoke about product and sales from a PLG perspective, from reaching out to users, but now we are going to really deep dive into sales, especially talk about how to sell to Fortune 500 companies. Right, so Gaurav, over to you.
Thanks, man. Hi, my name is Gaurav. I think Bhavna did a pretty good job to wake you all up after that good meal sleep. A slight of a daze. I see most of you getting awake. So, the topic they asked me to do it was how do you sell to Fortune 500s? I thought about it for a while and then I thought selling to Tatas is as complicated as selling to Walmart. So, I'll just keep it at enterprises and I'll talk a lot about India sales as well. I'm assuming a lot of you do that. Let's start. Before I do that, just one question. So how many of you will prefer to do a $1 million sale versus $110,000? That's it? Okay, great. So let's start talking about how do you sell to large enterprises. A few table stake on this is that I assume you already have a product which works. I assume you already have a product which is already sold to SMBs. It has been proven. You have to a certain extent PMF. All of that I'm assuming you already have. I'm skipping to all of that on how you build a product, how do you show value to the customers. I'm assuming you have all of that. Probably you have a couple of million in revenue already. You are already selling to enterprises. And now suddenly that one mail from Target or Tata or Reliance ends up in your inbox and the entire org is excited about it, that maybe we'll sell to them. Right? Now to sell to Tatas or not, a lot of times will get down to founder DNA. Maybe you want to sell it. I love it. A lot of people do not want that pain because it's a lot of it. It's all up to you. I'm assuming you still want to sell it. Right? So let's start it. Again, I will have some more questions. How many of you are founders here? Okay. How many of you are founder CEOs? Got it. My entire talk is about all of you. Right? So let's quickly move. A quick intro about myself. My name is Gaurav. Started Verloop about 5 years back. Before that, I was a developer. Before that, and now I just sell. Right? So during development, I mean, I wish the stars had aligned. My dream to do was I wanted to be in a part of W3C consortium and define the standards of World Wide Web. That's all I wanted my life to be. But now the life has taken me to wearing suits and talking compliance and talking about value services, right? Have failed thrice so far. All the 3 companies were named Verloop. Unfortunately, this time I don't have an option other than making it succeed. Otherwise, I need to find a new name. Also did one exit. I think the name was unlucky so far till I got one exit. You can find me on s.gaurav_baghel, slightly complicated, or you can mail me to g@verloop.io. Just a quick intro on also the company which pays my bills. Verloop is a contact center automation company where we focus on using all the technology that's available and all the buzzwords that you hear to help brands automate your customer experience. So next time when you go to reach out to Vodafone, that Hutch dog is also following you during the entire support and not just when they are trying to make you a customer, right? So, so far we have sold to about 350 enterprise customers. So I joke that I age in dog years, especially when I'm talking to enterprises. We have also sold across 10 countries, so have some idea about what I'm talking. And we have also sold to 6 governments. You can sell to enterprises and then you'll try governments, right? So it's a different mess. So that's the idea that I'm going to talk about today. So again, be very, very sure that you want to sell to enterprises. Very, very sure. And when I say enterprises, right, I'm not talking about that random $50,000 deal you did with Hindustan Lever. Right? I'm talking about $1 million deal, which ends up with, they call these discos or board cos, which ends up in those pockets and gets discussed to do or not to do. A proper multi-million-dollar deal which will disorient your entire organization. Like, you don't have an option. Your entire org will be working towards it. And your entire product roadmap will be a mess. Until you reach to say 20, 30 million in ARR, there is no way that you will be able to do a large deal without your entire org knowing and cribbing about it. Beyond that, you are big enough, you have people dedicated to do it, and you will be perfectly fine beyond that. But till then, be very sure on what you are up to, because it will do that, right? These deals, like I said, I mean, it will disorient everything. Your legal will be in stress. They will ask you for HR policies, which you will not even know they have to exist. I mean, certain very specific HR policies. We were selling to someone the other day, and they asked, what's your ESG policy? And I was like, ye kya hota hai? Right? So, and then, but you can't say that. You'll be like, of course I have a ESG policy. Let me come back to you. And then you will dial your lawyer. And then you will dial that entire org, I need HR, ESG policy in next few days. And you can't just have a ESG policy. You also have to train your employees on it, because next time a sales guy is speaking, he has to talk ESG. Right? So that's the kind of disorientation that comes in. In fact, in my personal experience, the first bank we signed, which was not even $1 million deal. It was close to 750K or something, right? I mean, by end of that deal, I was like, यार भगवान उठा ले, या तो sign करा दे, दो में से एक कर दे, right? I don't want to be in this, right? Because it's been 3 months. I don't know how many docs I have provided. I don't know how many things I have provided, and this just doesn't end. And what do you want to do? Do you want me to kill by exhaustion? Let's do that and cut it quick, right? So be very, very sure on you want to do it. If you want to do it, there is only one word that you have to focus on. And that one word comes to de-risk. You have to de-risk that entire organization for your deal to go through. That's about it. If you can de-risk them, you have the deal. Think about large enterprises, right? The changes you will bring in, they are risk averse by definition. A small change can wipe off a few $1 billion from their revenue, or from their, not revenue, actually market cap. So they are designed to not fail. Success and all, they have done it. Right? They will keep growing at 10% year on year, and they are fine with that. But they should not fail. And because the org is designed that way, departments are designed that way. And because departments are designed that way, people are designed that way. So you have to de-risk every single person that you interact with. And that's all you have to do. And that entire thing, I'm assuming you're still in 1 to 10 million range, will have to be done by the founder CEO. No one else can do it. Your best VP of sales cannot do it. Your CTO cannot do it. Your CPO cannot do it. CEO has to de-risk that enterprise, right? And that's about it. That's all you need to do. Now, who buys this deal from you, right? So think about a typical CXO. Depending on who you sell to, you could be selling to a CIO, could be selling to a CISO, could be selling to a CTO. I hope you are not selling to a CTO. Or could be selling to a CMO, COO, whoever you are selling to. Right? They are buying softwares all the time. Look at their marketing stack, they will have like 100 products inside it. Right? But the problem that you have is that all of those products will be bought by 1, 2, or 3, 4 vendors. That's about it. Most probably Adobe, Microsoft, and some parts of Salesforce and SAP. That's it. They want to buy from that trusted vendor because, again, they want to de-risk their job. Right? They don't want to buy from a startup who has raised a couple of $1 million, put in a lot of load, and suddenly it crashes. Right? Because we were never built for those scales. So the other thing that happens in a misconception I have seen is, and that's why I said India will matter, is a lot of times we want to believe that India doesn't pay. But trust me, the large enterprises, they are not looking for a cheaper alternative. They are not looking for can I get a cheaper AWS? By that logic, I mean, there are so many server companies in India, they should have been making shit ton of money. No one gets that deal. AWS and GCP get that, right? They are also not looking for that small incremental change that you will bring in, because the cost of going through that to get a pretty looking blue button is just way too high. Right? There is a evaluation involved and so many things involved. They will not do it. I mean, so if you think that you will make a beautiful sales force, nahi hoga. Plus, it's very, very risky to get a new guy. De-risk again, right? So, any clue how many true new initiatives a CIO does in a year? Any idea? Anyone? Any guesses? Anyone else? Not that bad. So, in my experience, he is 100% right. One is what they get to do. If they are extremely good and org is extremely awesome, they will be able to do two that year. And that's about it. Again, I'm not talking $10,000 somewhere spent to get some content in, right? That's okay. Uh, so they do only those two things. And the problem on why they want to keep it with the trusted vendor is because that one thing, let's assume their time in that org and that position is 5 years, they are going to live and die with the success of that project which they did with you, right? So the chances of we not being able to deliver and their position at stake is way too high. For the next 3 years, they will listen, yeah, you deployed Verloop, it couldn't even take up our load, right? So they don't want to do any of that. So the chances of failing become so high, and that's why they say it's not worth it. Let's just stick with whatever I already know, whatever I already am aware, and plus no one gets fired for deploying Microsoft or BCG, right? So it's just better and easier to not go with anything. Now, because of that risk, you need to de-risk that person first. All that numbers, data aside, the sale still happens from a human to a human. Org doesn't buy it. A human on the other side buys it. So first you have to, very first thing is you have to de-risk that person. Now, how do you de-risk that person? Is you have to solve the problem. Now, there are, in my experience, there are only two times when you will get brought in. First is, you have built a true innovation to their core products. And that true innovation will give them probably 5 to 8% of improvement somewhere. No one else has done it. You have proven it so far. Like I said, couple of million you have in revenue and you have some references and you have brought in that. That is one reason why you will get bought. More often than not, you will get bought because the vendor they already have is not willing to do things which they want. They want those two specific features which no product has it, which they know, but you maybe have it, or they know that they are getting a entire company as a dev shop for them just because they will be how important for you. So there is a headache which their existing company is not solving. A lot of times it could be two features which they wanted in their certain system which they do not have, but probably you can provide. So that's why those are the two things you get bought for. Now when it will come to de-risk those people, most important thing is you have to de-risk that the problem will get solved or not. Right? You have to show them that they really matter. And you are willing to go to any extent, first customer, right? First enterprise, to get their problem solved. It could mean rejigging your entire goddamn product roadmap that you spent an entire offsite to build, doesn't matter. You have to give that confidence that it will come up. The good part is you don't need to deliver all of that tomorrow. It's a stable business. That's the upside, right? So if you can show them that in 3 quarters, 4 quarters, you will solve one thing which they have asked and you are willing to accommodate on those things, you're good enough. You should be able to do it. So that's on one side. The other side on why you get bought and how you can de-risk that person is by you being always available. This one thing is non-negotiable. Like, you can forget all the productivity porn which you read on Twitter, that a CEO has to do this, CEO has to do that, CEO has to prioritize top 6 things he has to do on a Sunday evening for the month, day, week, and then every day in the night. The only thing that will matter at this point is, are you available on a Zoom call in a 5-minute notice on WhatsApp? They will not call you. I mean, that's a comfort you have to give. They're nice people. They will call you. But they're not bad. I mean, none of this should make you feel that they are bad. But your ability to fly to them at any given point of time, at the shortest of a notice, or get on a Zoom in that 2, 3, 4, 5 minute gives a lot of comfort. See, the upside of why I'm telling that this relation has to be maintained by CEO also, founder CEO also, is that your tenure in that company is lifetime. Right? SVP will probably move on, your tech guys will move on, products will move on, the founder is there. And they want that comfort. that I have a person who has the entire history of our relationship. I want a person who understands what has happened, why that has happened, what conversations had happened, and the person also has capacity and capabilities to move things around. Right? If it is required, if this feature gets so important from my board, this will get done. I have that trust on this guy. That's the trust you have to bring into that person. That's about it. If you bring in that trust, nothing like that. Most of the time, these CXOs will also be pretty senior people, right? In their late 50s, late 40s, early 50s, and so on and so forth. They also love to support you, provided you are present. Right? So, most important thing is be available. Tell them it matters. You will go to any length to solve their problems over a period of time. That's okay. Don't say I'll solve everything tomorrow, because sometimes as a founder, we also want to do everything tomorrow. Oh, I have committed it to that CIO. How can I not do it? Let's just build it overnight. Don't do that. Take a quarter. That's okay. But you have to build on that magic of that founder, CIO, founder, CMO relationship. That's the magic which will get you the deal. Nothing else. Your product could be best in the market. You will still lack features compared to Adobe. Right? So you can build the best CRM. You will not have as many reports as Salesforce. What you will have is that Mark will never get on a call with that CIO. You will. And that's what gets you that deal. The other thing that you will have to do, again, to show them they matter, to show them they are important, is you have to understand what their problem statements are. A lot of times we don't do it because we always think it as a stepchild product roadmap. This is very, very important in SaaS sales. You have to do a sales product roadmap during the sales process. I have never been able to close a deal in which this step was skipped. And if the deal is big, the founder has to do it. You have to sit with them, show them what things you're going to do in next 2 years. You can leave aside all the things you're going to do for SMBs. You can leave aside all the minor changes you're going to do. Focus on those big enterprise features which they care about. They will care about your SOC 2 a lot more than you deploying AI. They will care about ability on random compliance a lot more than anything that. And you have to show on a quarter-on-quarter basis what you are doing. In this discussion, you will also get a lot of feedback. That this matters to me, this matters to them. Each enterprise will give you a different feedback. You have to figure out what you want to build, what you want to say sorry about, but try to accommodate the genuine feedbacks. Sometimes derails, like massively derails. Same bank when we did for next 1 quarter, I don't think we did anything else. We were just working on an ISO certification. We never had it. We were working on certain encryption logics which we had never thought about it. We also worked on क्या नाम था यार, नाम भी भूल गया अभी मैं. There was some random security enterprise ways to log in and so on and so forth. We didn't had it, but you have to do this, and then you have to repeat this year on year. If you keep doing this customer will never churn, like never churn. Every year, show up, try wearing a suit, don't go in a pink t-shirt, sit in front of them and have this discussion. When a CEO visits, when a CEO visits these companies, 20, 30 people will sit in that room. You get to multi-thread that conversation and your churn shrinks. You get to also get a lot of feedback. It helps you evolve your product in the long run, but in the short run, that customer stays with you, gives you references. Next thing that you have to do, again, forget all the no pilot GAN that you get on internet, right? You have to pay for my services. You have to buy a subscription to use it. Give them a low risk way to try the product. This has to be as low risk as possible, as simple as possible to connect to their UATs, connect to their infrastructures, and run a pilot to show them that it works. You're just trying to make sure that they are not getting any surprises once it goes live. That is one thing. On the other side that happens is the entire processes get established. You know how their auth works, you know how their teams work, you know everything. So they are also sure, you are also sure, deployment is not going to fail. That's the worst thing that can happen to them. To you, it's a customer, aaya to aaya, nahi aaya to, then you will move on, right? But for them, it's bad. So you have to do this, real data, build a pilot plan. Most of the people do not have it. Have a structured pilot plan if you want to sell to enterprises. Don't shy from it. That is one. The second thing you have to do is please do not do those pilots for free. If they cannot make out 5 lakh rupee a month for that 3-month pilot, they are not serious about it. Move on. Right? Either you are not talking to someone senior enough who has budgets to do it, or they are not senior about it, because these $10,000, $20,000 don't even show up in the large budget plannings. You just get it. So do not do it for free. Charge for it. Make sure you get compensated, but do it. Don't say, I will not do it. This is most important. Once you have discussed with business, right? All these conversations so far happened with business. Then comes the security. In any company, you will find two kind of IT. One are risk averse and other are progressive. Your chances of meeting a progressive will be probably 2:10, 1:5 or something, right? Most of the time, these are extremely risk averse IT security teams. Think about the folks who are responsible for ensuring your money does not get siphoned out of HDFC, right? They have to be risk averse by definition. Because of that, you will have a lot of friction from these folks, especially because a lot of times, unless we decided to build as an enterprise company, we never thought about security. In terms of security, we have a big crypt, which hashes our passwords, and that's about it. That's where the buck stops, right? And then the multi-tenant systems are there. That gets hard to fly. But one thing you have to do is ensure this is the last leg. Don't get into it while business is still trying to set a value, else you're screwed. Like, it's a never-ending cycle to get proven in the security. That's one thing. Second thing you have to do is all the compliance that matter in your industry, get them done. You have to do ISO 27000, 9000, depending on what you are up to. SOC 2 is required, GDPR, CCPA is required. If you're doing HIPAAs, please do it. If you're touching credit cards, please do PCI DSS. Don't think about it. Most of this has already been productized. There are companies out there who will help you do it. Don't try to do it on your own. Because none of you will have most probably a chief security officer at this scale, and it's just not worth it at this point. Buy those products, pay $20,000, $25,000, whatever it costs, and get those certificates done. Takes 3 to 6 months depending on what you're going for, but go for it. Also spend time defining all your policies. We do not have those. You require probably 60 of those on the IT side of it. Then you require additional 50, 60 ESGs on your organization side of it, right? So get all of that done. There are means and ways to get cloud vendor checklists done, but you will still have to fill those 720 lines of cloud vendor checklist. I'm not making this number up. That's what you get from a bank, 720 odd lines to do a cloud vendor checklist. If you have done this and this, most probably this will be easy. You will still have to type it, but be willing to do all of this, right? Sometimes we don't understand why this is required, but think from their side, they are de-risking their failures. They shouldn't fail. It's okay to not deploy you. It's not okay to get their data out in the market, right? So get all of this done, which gives them a comfort. Do not let this friction come. While you started speaking to business, in the backend, start completing all of this, because you can't do it when IT asks for it. We did it. So that's why I know how hard it gets, right? I mean, pushing them for 3 weeks while we were still trying to get some certifications done is hard. They will say, why can you not give it to me? Kya bologe aap? परसों तो contract sign किया है, right? So you can't do all of that. So get this done as soon as possible. This will be required every single time. Then next thing you have to do is multi-thread it. You started with a CXO. That CXO will have only so much of time. They always usually have a person who is their pet guy on that department for that thing. Get to make them your champions as quickly as you can. They are the one who will push everything around. That's one thing. Second thing is no decision. Usually decisions are not taken by one department person. There is a conversation which happens. Multiple verticals come in and they talk. You have to multi-thread this conversation. Don't skip it. The moment you have multi-threaded it, it helps you move the deals faster. That is one. At this place, in the exception to everything I said, here you can start pairing. So Your CTO is good friend now with SVP IT there, VP IT there, marketing folks are talking to someone else, success folks are talking to someone else, because they need to build up that relationship during the success and deployment anyway, right? So start multi-threading this relation. You cannot do it. I also understand there is finite time you have. You also have a business to build and fund to raise. So multi-thread it here, but pair up these relations and multi-thread it as soon as you can, as quickly as you can. This helps you keep pushing the deal forward, right? And one champion, very, very important, but that's required in everything that you do, in every sales that you do. So it's given there. Then comes the legal. The way to slow you down is by exhaustion. Like you will not know how many clauses are required. Here, what you have to do is you have to be very, very clear on what you want. For everything else, just give up, right? Unless it will break your business, something like infinite indemnity. Please do not try to fight it out. You will have to give a SLA. You can't say that, yeah, I have founder responding to emails 24/7. Why do you want it in writing? No, you will have to give it. You can negotiate that first response time will be 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 5 minutes. That's a negotiation you will have. But for everything else that comes up where the court of justice is going to be and things like that, please do not try to fight it out. Even if you make them agree that your court is going to be somewhere in Singapore, you anyway don't have lawyers to fight that in Singapore, right? So figure out what you really need, skip everything else. But for that, you need to know your legal contracts. A lot of times I have seen founders do not know what they are signing, or they haven't even read their procurement contracts. You have to know each and every clause as a CEO. And then you have to know what I'm okay to give and what is a strict no-no. Like I said, infinite indemnity is a hard no. Maybe you can do 2x of your contract value, right? So it puts an upper cap to it. But figure out what it is going to be. And for procurement, they will take a pound of flesh, no matter what. So give it as soon as possible so that you can skip that. I mean, you can cut short that step. See, they have been designed to get 3 vendors in the room and get the cheapest price. You have to bake in prices of each of these steps in your originally quoted price. If you quoted honestly, please don't come later on and say कि यार बहुत सस्ता हो गया, right? You have to know that at the most efficient procurement orgs, names will not be taken, but really large company in India, you might end up discounting up to 80%, right? Your payment cycles reveals a lot, could be 6 months. Bake all of that into your pricing. If you're planning to sell it for 1 million, anyway quote 5 million, right? So, and then give them. They feel happy, they feel proud that I got the prices down from 5 million to 3 million, right? Your price was anyway 1 million, how does it matter? That's the best price also about enterprise, right? You haven't put it on your website, what the prices are. So bake all of this in. At every step you will be negotiated. At every step, you like it or not, you will be sent a quote from a competing vendor. Maybe on a Zoom call, they will show you what the quote is and they will say, can you match it? You might think they are doing you a favor. They are also showing it to the other guy, right? So you have to know all of that. So this pound of flesh, you can't skip it. The sooner you get that syringe in and say, nikal lo jitna nikalna hai, that's better, right? So let's figure out that conversation. 20% is the max I can do. Let's do it and close the deal. You will have to do that. Here, that multi-threaded relationship helps, both on the legal and procurement, because those guys internally can create a pressure to do it quick. See, every month they do not deploy, they are also losing that 10% margin you are bringing in. And their scale, it's big compared to whatever they are paying you, right? So you have to use both the sides, make these guys happy, make them feel like they won, de-risk it for them, but also put the pressure from the other side. Can we do it sooner? How do we do it sooner? And so on and so forth, right? Can't skip it. Then the last one is don't lie. You will lie to a certain extent. You would want them to believe you are way bigger than what you are, right? But probably do it 20% or 25%. We lost a deal. I'll give you an example. We lost a deal. This was peak of COVID. There was a large airline outside India who wanted to use us for their contact center automation, asked me how big we were, and I quoted a number which was 6x of my actual scale. It went very, very smooth till the last step when they asked for financials, CA certified financials. Right? And we lost the deal at that stage. And don't do that. Like 20%, 30%, or headcount size, 24/7 support. You have network people who are monitoring your traffic and logs 24/7. Up to this extent is okay. But 50 people team calling it 150, don't do that. The other thing is, all of this gets caught, right? This is the only place where I say, please don't 10x it. 1.2 is okay. And that's about it. That's all you need to do to de-risk everyone in that org chart. If you will think about org chart, now you have taken care of everyone. Compliance has been taken care of because you did security. Legal has been taken care of. You agreed to everything they said, except 2-3 points that you wanted. Finance has been taken care of. You agreed to their discounting. With the procurement, you might have some conversations around payment terms and all. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you want or you want advance. All of that you can figure it out. CXO has been taken care of. Multiple people are your pushers. I mean, they are pushing it for you. So if the failure happens, it's not on just one guy who was pushing for it. So everyone in the value chain has been taken care of, and you will get that deal. This will happen in 3 to 4 months if you are doing it for the first time. Takes 2 months once you get slightly used to it. And then you get the deal, you get the money. Then there is a separate conversation on how you go about making them win, how you go about deploying it. But that's for another day. Now comes the last thing. A lot of times we forget about it because once the deal closes, the founder has moved on to a new prey, right? I mean, we forget that there is a relationship that existed. The last thing you have to do is you have to invest in making their career. You have to make them hero, not just in their org, but in the industry. Once a deployment has happened, there are so many award shows which go. I'm not saying you buy one, but Gartner has those awards. Forrester has those awards. Industry-specific award shows are there. Apply on their behalf. Every single time you fill everything, send it to them, say, does it look good to you? They will almost never say a no because you would have written nice things and you would have exaggerated by 20%. Apply it on their behalf. Make sure they shine. If they shine, know your tenure in the company is infinite. There probably is 5 years. They will move on. You will get a new deal. I'll give another example. The first bank we got that I was talking about, so far we have got 4 more banks through them. Right? Because people spread. They go to different places, different companies. You treated them nice. They want to return the favor because, again, Salesforce will not treat it that way, right? So that human angle is what helps you win, and this has to be your KPI. Your CS team has to track how many awards your customers have got. This is most important. Almost never done, almost never discussed. In enterprises, this matters. How many awards our customers have got, how many star performer for the quarter, etc. they have got, and then invest some money spreading it on social because they feel nice when 1,000 people like it on LinkedIn. Right, so do all of this, and that's about it. The deal is done. Thank you. I don't know how to remove Verloop from this, so yep. That's it. Any questions, any of you?
We'll just take one question. We're running out of time.
Did I take long? I thought it would be short.
No, actually, we already run.
I know, man. I'm not. Okay.
Yes, one of your slides said do nothing for free, right? So I want to just explain this because we are selling a product to an enterprise, and we were competing with another product. Now we had to do the POC for free, okay? And the POC, we sold them the license to do the POC, but the service we had to do it free of cost because the other competitor also was doing free of cost. So can you just expand on this and how, because that POC is not yet over. They come back with questions and questions. So
See,
how do I negotiate on not doing the POC for free?
See, and that's where your POC programs matter. If you walk in and they are the first one to suggest you POC, they have anyway not taken you very, very seriously till that point, right? The moment you throw in, this is my program, put a nice structured 5 slides to it. If you have a designer, ask them to design it. If you do not have it, get someone from outside and get it designed, but it should look very professional. That this has been designed, these guys do it for a living. Give that POC, tell them the prices, again, bake in a discount, and then do it. If they are doing a free POC, think about it, what all people have been involved. The procurement is not involved. Most probably the legal is not involved. You will do this entire effort at some point. You might be doing a POC for someone so that they can take a PDF and then show it somewhere and say, I tried these things, this is what it works, this is what it doesn't work. Stop picking up your phone call from the other day. We are very clear on that. I will do a POC, not free. Right? If you are asking for a free POC, you are $1 billion enterprise, you can't make $10,000, then I'm not here as a labor for you to exploit me, right? You can have those conversations. Have those honest conversations. A lot of times we also have where competitors are giving free POC, they are giving at half the price, and we have a very, very standard answer. Again, my English is not so great, so I talk in Hindi, but sir, unki dukaan band kara do, fir mere paas aa jana. Right? So we have those conversations straight-faced. That no free POC. If you can't budget it, then let's talk once you can budget it. Right? And that happens all the time. They will do free POC. I mean, there is only so much you get in free air. Why do you want to burn it? You can, as a founder, take one-off calls, but the problem is the moment you start taking everything that way, every POC will be free. Sales flows by the lowest friction method. Free POCs are easiest for your team also to do. Right? Then every POC will be a free POC.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. I think wonderful presentation, the way he broke down the entire process, right, and spoke so much in depth.